Okay, so let me introduce first Andrew Murray, and he will talk about the Capable Hub. And yeah, I have my introduction. Yeah. So Andrew is building a sustainable open source CHERI ecosystem, and he's the founder of the Capable Hub. He brings deep embedded Linux and upstream experience to improving the quality and availability of CHERI software. So that's exactly what we need. And I will let you with Andrew now while I fiddle with Robert's slides.
Thanks, Mike. So yeah, I'm Andrew Murray. I'm founder and director of the Capable Hub. And I think it's a really exciting time to be part of this community. I think over the past 15 years of research and development, I think is coming to fruition. And I get a real sense that industry is waiting and watching to take their moments to adopt CHERI technology. We, of course, have CHERI hardware available. We have RISC-V-based FPGA-based development boards, like the Santana boards, and we're starting to see the early tape-out of test chips from companies like SCI and, in due course, Insilica. In terms of ratification, the RISC-V CHERI specification is, as I understand, close to being ratified, and there's also ongoing efforts with ETSI on standardization of memory safety. But there is a problem, and I think ahead of us there's a large hurdle with software. I think as it stands, CHERI software that's available today isn't ready and doesn't yet meet the requirements for industry. And I think after many years of people working on CHERI software on a wide range of different projects serving very different purposes, the software we have today is fragmented, it's not easily available, it's not up to date, and is sometimes lacking in features. And this is particularly true of software that runs on applications processors. And that's why our mission is to improve the availability, quality, and upstream alignment of open source CHERI software. If you're not familiar with us, we are a not-for-profit engineering organization currently funded by UKRI, but we recognize our mission is a long-term one, and so we're looking to become self-sustainable in due course. Our board of directors consists of Carl Shaw from Codasip, Kevin Hillman from Bay Libra, and myself from The Good Penguin. The way we work is to deliver engineering resources directly into the open source community to solve problems that are otherwise not being tackled or unfunded. We are proud members of the CHERI Alliance, and we're working within the CHERI Alliance structures where we can to do our work. This is quite new to us. We were actually incorporated towards the end of November, so we've had only a small amount of time to get started. But we have made some good progress, and I'm keen to share with you today some of the work we've been doing as part of the Capable Hub. When we first approached and came into the CHERI ecosystem, we, much like potential future users, had the problem of how do we know what software is available, how do we know which forks to use, what works, what doesn't. It can be quite difficult and quite time-consuming to figure this out. So we started to survey the CHERI ecosystem and created a software map. We wanted to signpost to potential users and to industry what software is available, if there's forks, which one they should use, and who's working on what. The state of play, if you like. We're pleased that this software map is online on our website. It's open source, which means that anybody, particularly project owners, can contribute to it to make sure that this living document is kept up to date so people can easily access and find CHERI software. At the moment, that's focusing on foundational software, operating systems, tool chains, RTOSes, but we do plan to expand beyond that to a wider range of software. Throughout this process, we've learned a lot about what software already exists, and you may well have seen that we've created a range of technical blog posts that you can find on our website. We then moved on to providing Continuous integration infrastructure. We believe that it's really helpful if when you're working on a project, you can validate that the work you're doing at least builds. So we've made available via GitHub Actions CI runners that run using the power of AWS. And this is freely available for projects that are related to CHERI. And these repositories can live anywhere as long as you install our GitHub application, which is currently installed in the Capable Hubs organization, but also the CHERI Alliance. We're seeing initial adoption of our CI. I think towards the end of February, we have about 3,000 hours of CI being used, and we're seeing this on CHERI Alliance projects like Cell4, QME, Cepha, and we're getting lots of good use for that. Our engineers have helped support people using CI, and we've also helped enable some workflows that were found in upstream repos that we're trying to incorporate into our forks. For example, we've done that in enabling the CHERI BSD smoke tests. But we're working to support people that wish to have CI and don't currently have that. More recently, we've created a board farm. Our goal is to put CHERI hardware in the hands of people that want to develop CHERI software. And there's two real use cases for this. The first one is to enable access to CHERI hardware within CI workflows. So not only can you now validate that your software builds when you make a commit into a repository, you can now also validate that you can flash the software on your hardware, you can boot it, and it actually performs a useful purpose. I think that provides a bit of transparency and a bit of confidence in our work. The other use case is interactive access, and this allows you to use our hardware in our farm as a development machine if you want to test something on real hardware. Obviously, the hardware we've got, there's only so much hardware at the moment, but we have some Morello boxes in there, Genesis 2, which is an FPGA platform, and a Santana board, and we're really keen for you to include your hardware or to donate any hardware that you have that you aren't using. To demonstrate this capability, we have some reference workflows we've created. We started off with the Genesis FPGA board, and we demonstrated how in a GitHub CI workflow you could flash a CVA6 bitstream, you can boot it, program the SD card, and see that it boots into Linux. And we've also very recently done this for Morello. Even though it's not a RISC-V, it's still obviously a very useful platform. And so for Morello, we've shown that we can build the Morello software, we can flash the firmware on the Morello hardware, program a USB stick, boot it, and verify it reaches a boot prompt. So this is all available for free for people to use on CHERI software, and we encourage you to give us your boards or make use of this capability. We've also provided other infrastructure. We have Mailman mailing lists. We've not seen much of use for that, but if you have a project and you're keen on using mailing lists, you're welcome to use that. There's information on our website. We've also provided artifact storage via Cloudflare, and we think this is a lot more important than it seems. We're getting some feedback that people would like to be able to evaluate CHERI software without having to build it, and having artifacts, whether that's installers or disk images or Docker containers, is really helpful. So we're encouraging project owners to create artifacts and version releases and to make those available. And we believe that our Cloudflare-hosted artifact storage is a good way of providing the longevity and the accessibility that provides. More recently, we've focused on delivering engineering efforts. We're working up to about 8 engineers. The engineering effort comes from 2 consultancies, my own, The Good Penguin, which is an embedded Linux consultancy. We've had previous experience with the DSDB project on Morello. And we've also got Bay Libra, who are an open source consultancy with a lot of experience in taking software and delivering it upstream, particularly in environments like this. We don't believe that we should decide ourselves what work we should be working on. We want to listen to industry. So we've created a technical advisory group with, at the moment, representatives from people making silicon. We've got low risk, we've got capabilities limited, and sorry, I've forgotten some of the other ones. But we had our first tag meeting last week, and now we're starting to steer our direction in response to the feedback we get. Something that's really important to us is that we believe that the right place, the home for CHERI software, shouldn't live in random forks found on university GitHub repos or our own repos. We believe CHERI software should live upstream as first-class citizens in the original repositories that CHERI was forked from. We think that's the only way to provide longevity and to provide the kind of right provenance that industry would expect from software running in secure contexts. This is obviously a long-term goal, but our first steps are to bring software up to date or in alignment with upstream. We've worked with Codasip to validate their port from LLVM 19 to 20 to ensure all the tests pass. And now we have engineers that are starting to rebase that to LLVM 21, which is the latest LLVM. We've recently updated GDB to from 14 to the latest version 17, and we've also updated Meta Morello Yocto to the latest Yocto LTS, which is ScarthGap. We're also adding or cherifying software that doesn't yet support CHERI. We've had some initial work on the kernel to support various tracing mechanisms, and we've also brought Postgres into to be able to run it, from CHERI BSD into Linux. Some of the feedback we've known in the past is that it can be quite difficult to build and access CHERI software. So to make this a little easier, we've created a set of containers and Docker files. This is especially useful for CI environments where you can just include them and you have all the dependencies you need to build a particular component or access to a tool chain. And we have a variety of these containers, including some for Salfor and Cepher. We've put a lot of effort into Yocto. We have Meta CHERI, which is Yocto layer for RISC-V CHERI platforms. We've recently added multi-lib support, so you can have both CHERI and non-CHERI software running in the same environment, which is obviously quite useful to transition to CHERI. And we've been updating useful packages within that to their latest versions. We're also now evaluating bringing a single Yocto layer that can support both all platforms we know, so the kind of Codasip platform and the Morello platform. Part of our work is to come to events like this. Crucially for us, it's to get feedback and find out what people believe is missing in the community. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, we went to Embedded World, which was really useful. But this is the start of our journey, only 4 or 5 months in, and we've got a lot more work ahead of us. We're pleased that our funding will be continued, so we will be here next year. And we're continuing to ramp up our engineering team, both in terms of our pace, our capability, and what's also crucially important is our relationships with other people within the community. We've already started to submit patches to upstream projects. These are very trivial in nature at the moment, but they are kind of a sense of things to come, I think. But our focus will always be primarily on getting the foundational software that you need, and the tooling for that aligned or even upstream, if possible, so that it's ready for industry's needs. We'll continue to focus on providing infrastructure for validation and testing, and also to support new users, which will likely be the kind of first kind of commercial users in terms of tooling, providing artifacts for evaluation. And of course, we'll continue to engage with our technical advisory group. But we'd really like your input and support. And the ways to support us is to speak to us and let us know what you're working on. You mentioned, I heard about Wolf. I'd like to speak to you about what we can do there. But also the technical advisory group is there for people that have a kind of a long-term interest in what we're doing. If you're working on CHERI software, please contribute to our software map. Let's keep that up to date. And if our infrastructure is useful to you, then please use it. And if you have any dusty old Morello units, we'd really like some of those too, please, as well. So that's about it. Mike is quickly approaching me, so I will hand back the microphone. Thank you, Mike.
I'll give you one opportunity for a question. Who wants to ask that question? Somebody in the back? No? No. Okay, you want to test my cube throwing capabilities? Ah, yeah.
So if people want support with things, or how can you get people together who might have common interests and perhaps provide support with particular packages and things like that? How should people engage with you?
Yeah, so I mean, the first point of call would be to reach out to us via, I think we've got a support@Capable Hub email address, but join our tag. But to be honest, what we find the most useful community is the Cambridge Slack channel, because there's such a wide group of people that are very knowledgeable, and we are present there as well. So yeah, but reach out to us. Be happy to speak to you. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.